Greetings! I don't know why I keep going for the accents to start. I just think it's more fun to just lead us in with a lot of energy. What's up? What's going on? It's the fucking Boundless Shores. We're back in action 3 weeks in a row. Feels like a goddamn miracle. Pigs can fly. What? I don't know. Uh, yeah, watch out. Hi, Biz. I don't know. Adrian was here.
He's still a piglet.
Dungeon Master West here, back at it again. We're playing the Boundless Shores. My wonderful players. I'm gonna introduce them, and I thought of a fun question just because I've been wondering this, just myself. Um, but who's probably your most memorable NPC? And I want to say excluding the heralds because K is too easy.
Yeah.
And Gwaine, also too easy. Saphiri's iconic, whatever. I mean, Saphiri could throw in there because we've only seen a little bit of him, but I don't know if he's that memorable, to be honest. He's all right. But yeah, who's your most memorable NPC? And this could be good guys, bad guys, whoever, just any non-player character.
Does anybody have an answer right off the top of their head? Because I gotta think.
I do. Honestly, just like, yeah, go for it, Liam. It's Liam, our wonderful editor.
Mainly because of the growing relationship between them, but Milo.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Milo! I didn't even take Milo into consideration. We do love Milo.
What the hell's a Milo?
Milo?
I think mine is the ghostly bridge guard.
Yes.
From
I'm trying.
Okay, you know what? Campaign 1 characters.
I know.
I'm
trying to exclude any campaign 1.
No,
characters.
he was in campaign 2. We've seen him.
He has made appearances.
No, he was, yes. But he's saying characters that originated in campaign 1 don't count.
Okay.
I don't know.
At least not for the original players, because pick somebody new.
I'm surprised you didn't say like.
You know what? I didn't even think of him. He's pretty iconic, but
he is.
I don't know. Is he memorable though? Like that's what's. Is he iconic versus memorable?
I mean, we kind of know he would kill us if we tried to fight him. So I do not doubt he's a level 20 adventurer that like got cursed somehow and has to watch the bridge.
Or luck's a bitch.
Yeah, my favorite is Varus.
Fair enough.
I know he hasn't been like as prominent in this campaign as some of the other NPCs here, but I really appreciate the subtlety and the mysterious nature of Varus.
Great answer. I like that one. That's a great answer.
All we know so far is that he's a good guy and he's mysterious.
You know what? That's all you can ask out of a person, really. I'll give my answer just to give you guys a little bit of thinking. I think my favorite NPC has got to be the poison.
That's cheating.
From the dungeon master's side of acting poison and getting to step into his mind, it's really fun to just really go for it. Like the snappiness of his mood changes are just something I really enjoy exploring. Just how fast he can go from this cocky kind of seductive human-ish to this malefic creature of darkness. It's really fun. He's on screen anyone who plays off of him, it's always. So I think the Poison's definitely my favorite NPC.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I got Bridge Guy, I got Varys, and I got Milo. Take Bridge Guy as an answer. He's pretty iconic.
I want to say Cavalis.
Yeah. Okay.
His introduction and his still, relatively speaking, unknown motivations, like despite like obviously like the big overarching possible motivations, and again like how he was introduced as a character and like his power and stuff. He's a very, very interesting character.
Yeah. No, he brought aura, and I think that's one thing that a lot of bad guys haven't done is just fucking wreck your shit.
And like that's especially trying to exclude anybody that was even like semi-relevant in campaign 1. Because
Yeah.
Mr. O's still very cool in this one. I even like
Mr. O is great.
I even like Leon, but I don't know if I like him enough to say he'd be like my favorite. He's a cool character though.
Yeah.
Like because as much as he's like you know, a lesser character, yeah, I like, you know, he's still a dragon. He's still a white dragon. Tyrion's like only like purebred kid, you know, like.
Yeah, and if Tyrael ever goes, he's the next Elder Dragon.
I'll fucking kill you, man.
We'll see.
Like, cause yeah, it's hard
Vidale's
not
always
to
fun.
say like
I think
I did think Vidal, but it's hard not to say like Tyrael or fucking Kiriki, even though it's like a descendant, or Galithar because we briefly met him. Like, but
yeah.
obviously I'm not gonna include any of those.
Yeah, even I was thinking, I'm like, Volnar is sick. I mean, but
Yeah.
Volnar is great. But like, I think as far as I couldn't put him on a memorable NPC list because he's just something different. And also, I just love his accent. I don't know, I don't know what it is, but every time I do his accent, I just really enjoy it. And it is a specific reference to a character. I'm not sure if I've referenced it, if I've said the reference before, but it's a reference to a specific character.
From
I'm
one
not
of
gonna
your
say who it
campaigns
is.
with the I thought was that one of the ones you said was in reference to like one of your campaigns from your old Dungeon Master?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Not D&D related.
Oh, okay.
Dark Crystal related?
Nope. Although some voices are just like, it's because I like doing the Skeksis voices. Yeah, maybe I'll reveal that later, but not now, because it's a specific reference to a certain character in a show that I like. Chris, you got any memorable NPCs? I know you've only experienced a little bit of it, but I know you have been watching through the episodes. Is there anyone that sticks out to you?
Each arc tends to have an interesting character or two. So, I mean, I quite enjoyed the captain of the Shadow Silhouette.
I was thinking about that too.
Oh, Laverne. Yeah, he's coming.
I was thinking while we were over here, part of the reason why I asked you, like, wait, was it from here? I was like, maybe we'll get a chance to fight him now.
As far as characters that I've actually interacted with, I Yggdrasil was one of the first NPCs that I actually had more than a handful of words with. But I mean, as far as my character on a personal level, he'd probably see more eye to eye with Kariki just because of the nature of the occupation and the curiosities therein.
I love Kariki.
And I'm glad a campaign 1er hadn't mentioned Kariki, campaign 2er had. So that makes me happy that he's as iconic, because he was also on my list.
Yeah, his ancestor was actually still working, like the shop's been in that family for generations, and our party was super close with him in the last campaign, like his ancestor.
His great grandfather.
Yeah, I felt like it would be a little cheaty considering my character
Yeah,
is a Kariki.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you gotta love Kariki. Doesn't matter who you are.
Oh,
Because,
Right.
dude, because I also just think back to us playing in the
Oh,
basement, and you had that sliding door going into your laundry room, and you using that like you were sliding on a ladder to like look through all like almost like in a library to look through all the potions. Like that was one of your first big props. I still remember that, like when we were playing in your
you know what?
basement,
That's true.
and like since
Yeah.
then I was like, Kariki's my boy. Because
you
we
know
later
what?
moved up
He's
to your
also a
den.
disorganized fool.
Sympathy.
You know what? Let's bring this question to the audience. What has been their favorite
Ooh,
Yeah,
NPC?
can we set up like a survey?
can we do that in the
Tell us in
comments?
chat, and we'll
I know there's a community thing you can do. I don't know how you do it exactly,
Okay,
or if you need like a specific amount of subscribers to do it.
I mean, they can probably
maybe.
just put a comment right now.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Leave a
For now, just
comment.
comment.
Let us know what your most memorable NPC is so far. I think that was just a really fun debate, man. One to feel good. So here we are. Of course we got Owen, James, Chris, Nate, and Liam. This is episode
I'm back to death
67.
from hell.
He's back from the shift from hell. This is episode 67 of the Boundless Shores.
I missed episode 66.
You did, dude. You missed it at the beginning of the episode. At the beginning of the episode, I went, Commander Cody, execute episode 66. It was great. I loved it.
Of course.
It's okay. You'll be here for episode 66, so that'll be funny.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
James, are you feeling up to a recap?
A
This
recap,
is your
eh?
arc. I made Chris do the recap when it was his side quest. So I think now that it's yours, you should do the honors.
Yeah, so we started out on our ship, the Candelabra. We had a couple interactions. Tobin had done most of what he needed to do already, but I'm having trouble recalling any of the. Was there any like big important character interactions on the ship while we were there? Trying to
I don't.
think. We had
The main two is what Jonathan got up to and sequence was the night before, and then
yeah.
there was kind of pretty mundane stuff the morning after. So
Mhm.
if you don't remember any of the Jonathan stuff, we can hand it over to Jonathan to quickly recap.
Yeah, just
his
for that,
segment.
if he doesn't mind.
Yeah, Nate, do you feel up to recapping what Jonathan had been concocting in his room?
Yeah, of course. So, as Jonathan was in his room, studying the various samples of the black sludgy substance that he has collected over the however long it's been since they started adventuring, or this whole Everdark presence thing started showing up. Jonathan found that Beckett's and especially Bubonics shadow liquid was a lot more consistent and a lot more magic imbued than Jonathan's was.
It was, by the way, Onyx was more potent than all of them.
Yeah.
Bubonics is more potent than all of them. And then so after Jonathan did his study on the shadow essence, he mushrooms started to appear on his staff, and as he investigated the mushrooms, he discovered that the the mushroom that was growing on his staff was called Amica Eternis. And it's largely unexceptional, aside from colonies of it sharing a hive mind or a hive-like mind between one another. And the name Amica Eternis translates to old friend. And then spores of the mushroom flew off out of the window off in a certain direction.
To remind our party as well as the audience, Jonathan, could you tell us just a brief recap, if a sentence, if anything, of why are mushrooms becoming important to you, and why this matters more than some strange growth?
Yeah. So in the Feywilds, we visited the Angels of Autumn. And I got a message, and from meetings with the Angels of Autumn, I believe I got told to follow the spores for my next steps.
Excellent. James, you can take it from there. Or sorry, did you have something else to add, Nate?
Yeah, just, it's following the spores is his next big step on Jonathan's personal journey, but obviously there's a lot bigger concerns right now.
Of course. And of course with the strange meeting of the old blind man, who carried an odd amount of mushrooms with his pack, as something seems to be calling Jonathan, but of course duties rise above all else. And speaking of duties and the rest of whatever episode, James, go on ahead.
Yeah, so other than that, of note on the ship, was it Chris and Orgolan? Alistair and Orgolan?
And Calduin, not Oberlin.
Oh, sorry, Calduin. We had a dream of Beckett being bound in chains in some sort of area, like hellscape type area, that and she was screaming out in pain, and we had a brief conversation about it.
It wasn't. Sorry, it wasn't just regular chains. It was golden chains.
Okay.
Weirdly, I would just like to briefly interrupt, but love to hear any of your thoughts on the translation of this dream of what you think is happening, and what you did experience, because there is a message behind that dream, or maybe not a message like directly to you, but there's a theme behind it of what you all experience. To hear some theories if you guys have concocted them, but I'll talk to you guys about that on the break.
Okay, so are you looking to hear what we had to say about it, or are you looking to hear about it on the break?
Yeah, later. But that just came to my brain now. Sorry to interrupt. ADHD, go burr.
Yeah, she was bound in golden chains, and she was seemed to be in immense pain, and obviously unfortunate. But I was able to have a conversation with Calduin a little bit, and Alistair, as he noticed the conversation was going on, and just mentioned kind of just mentioned how glad we were to have Calduin back, because in a way this is kind of similar to what we saw and how we felt with Calduin, the feeling that he was probably getting now, especially because of how close he was with Beckett. I don't know how explicit Tobin made that when he said that, but that was the general vibe of that conversation. Anyways, we get to New Anghor, and when we get there, it seems very dead. No ships docked in the port or anything like that, which is fairly odd, although not as popular as Blackwater. Still a port city in the Farhaven Isles, so it was very odd to see it like that. We ran into a fisherman who told us that ever since the how did he phrase it? Purging or something along those lines. I think you're still muted, Wes. I can't remember exactly.
Raising.
Sorry, the raising of the just the Farhaven Isles or of New Angor, or Farhaven Isles, I believe. After the raising, like there just hasn't been as much people, obviously, because we could speculate that lots of people lost their homes, lots of people were probably injured, lots of people probably fled as refugees. I would assume, like, again, that's all speculation, but we did hear briefly about the raising, and we decided to make our way up the mountain to take care of our business with Tyrael. After we make our way up the mountain, we find ourselves at the cave where Leon meets us, and he says he will bring us in. So he gives us kind of a roundabout way of getting there, so we don't have to like go through the glacier trials again. And we meet Tyrael in her elven form. Does she just seem like a regular elf, a high elf, a wood elf? Like, what does she look like? I know you like told us what she looks like, but like race wise, like specifically, I would assume like high elf.
I think it would be high elf to almost half angelic, like
right.
Imagine just the most beautiful breed of high elven and Azamar mixed together.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a very, like James, like you brought up last episode, very much Galadriel vibes.
Yeah. So we met her in that form. We had a brief chat with her, talking about like what was to come. She said that she wanted to unite the banners of her children and her disciples under Tobin as a form of general. We both, Tobin and Tyrael, weren't exactly sure how that might turn out, but they mentioned that briefly. And so after all the different tribes met up, and Tyrael explained the situation. They all had their gripes, and Tobin, trying to do the best to muster his confidence, stood up as straight as he could, and he said that he would be willing to prove himself in any form he could, including combat if necessary. But with the mention of one of the tribes' artifacts being stolen, a fancy egg that I can't remember the name of what that is. Abergé being stolen.
Fabergé of Fraught and Frost.
Yes, that. The Fabergé of Fraught and Frost being stolen by some of Chandra's children, the Red Spawn. Tobin instead offered to go recover that to prove his worth to all the troops, to be able to put him under his banner. We wrapped up the meeting, and we were able to go back to a area that had been prepared to us. Leon had led us there, and I feel like, Yonatan, I think, wanted to go do some sort of exploring or something, but I can't really remember how that went. Other than that, I think I covered the main points.
That was awesome, dude. Good job.
Well done.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find the mute button. There it is. Go on, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Jonathan just wanted to do more research on the mushrooms and the.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what? That feels like a perfect pan in as we are brought to Yonatan in a small, almost like a guard office house, where standing between the guard room where the Ade now will are positioned in, and awaiting for the hour-long break to end. Yonatan, yeah, words. Yonatan Leon brings you to a separate. It's very small. It's probably no larger than a 10 by 10 room with a small desk, and nothing really in this room, because who's taking papers in an ice palace in the middle of a fucking mountain? But it's there, for aesthetic or whatever. So you are you researching as our camera is gonna fade in to Yonatan? What are you currently researching? Are the mushrooms or the sludge?
I'm gonna research the sludge first. And what I am trying to accomplish is I'm gonna be trying to see how it reacts to various magic sources.
Various magic sources. What are you trying to just you don't need to expend any spell slots. Just bring me in flavor of what you're testing with the sludge.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is just just get a little bit of fire magic, ice magic, just kind of poking and prodding uh whatever elements, and
And what
just
sludge are you using for this?
I'm gonna use bubonic sludge.
Bubonics, the most potent one. Awesome. Can you have knowledge arcana, correct?
I don't believe I do.
Hmm.
I do not.
You know what? This just seems appropriate. I would roll me knowledge arcana, which would be D20 intelligence.
21.
Hello? What did you goddamn roll?
I rolled a natural 17.
Damn. You had 8 intelligence.
Pardon?
What's your intelligence score?
My intelligence score is in 18.
Wow. I don't know Yonatan was so smart. Golly gee. You elements on this sludge. You watch as you give a burst of fire into it. You watch the sludge bubble and convulse for a moment, but as the fire purges into it, it just kind of seems to bubble and almost grow like boiled oats being overcooked. Put water into it as it takes form and becomes more sludge-like and liquid as it pours out, and it grows. And you notice that every time you put more magic into it, it seems to keep growing, like it's feeding off of every material that you are giving it.
Hmm. How very odd.
As you're researching away, You hear the call of a hand horn. Echo into the chamber.
I pack up the sludge and just seal the flask, and then
You actually you go to put the sludge back into the flask, and you notice that the dark sludge, there's more dark sludge that can fit in your vial.
Okay, just put like as much as I can, but just like slightly lower than the brim of the flask, and I'm just gonna try to just I'm gonna attack it with my sword, I guess.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an attack.
Or like try to contain it. I don't know. I don't want
So
this.
okay, no, hold on. Are you attacking it, or how are you going to contain it?
I'm gonna grab a second. I'm gonna grab an empty flask and contain it that way.
You got an empty flask in inventory?
Yes, sir.
You now have 2 bubonic sludges.
So how does he separate them?
They multiplied. They thrived under the exposure to the flame.
What? So it didn't just become one bigger thing?
Well, I mean, it's think of it kind of like
sounded
a
like he said it.
bacterial colony. It
Yeah.
expanded.
Well, he said it like it grew as like I assumed he grew as like one big thing rather than like splitting like it was doing mitosis or something.
Yeah, it's not splitting like it's doing mitosis. It's growing. It's feeding. It's eating the magic that Yonatan was feeding into it, and so his small sample of the vial that he had now
Right.
pretty much doubled into just seemingly creating something out of nothing. But the nothing is the elements that he put into
Right.
the sludge.
But does it become like can it be easily like torn apart into 2 or did he have like can he easily put it in 2 vials?
It's like muddy ink. It's like viscous. It's jelly. It's sludge.
Did you ever see Fern Gully: The Last Rainforest?
Fern Gully. Is that Oh, yeah, yes. I
Do
love
you
that
remember
movie.
Tim Curry's Hexus?
The like black goo thing, right? Like that like
There
turn
you
I
go.
dude, I love that thing. Dude, I forgot about Fern Gully's such a good movie.
So good.
I've seen that since I was a kid, man.
Unlocking core memories.
No, seriously, what a great movie. I loved that movie as a kid.
I just like Tim Curry. And I mean
I
villain.
love Tim Curry. This episode is dedicated to our boy Tim Curry. Shout outs. Absolutely phenomenal in every role he plays. The ones that are most memorable to me are obviously Rocky Horror. You got the Clue movie was awesome, and Captain Hook, no, not Long John Silver in Muppet Treasure Island.
Though I mean, he did also do a cartoon
You
dub
forgot
for
fucking Home
Captain
Alone,
Hook.
motherfucker.
Yeah, he was the bellhop at Home Alone 2.
In Home Alone 2.
We're getting
Yeah,
off
but
track.
I know we are, but I love Tim Curry, and I want the goddamn internet to know it. Yeah.
Okay, fair
So,
enough.
thank you for keeping me on track.
Guys, I gotta go. I gotta watch
what
Fern Gully.
Yeah. All right. See you later, James. All right. I'm gonna go watch Clue. Um, Liam, what did you say that potential name was that I really liked?
Oh, distractions and detours.
There it is. So gaining and now a second vial of bubonic sludge. Hearing the call of the White Hand's horn, Jonathan makes his way back into the bunk set out for the rest of the Adai Naul. As the rest of you see Jonathan walking in as he's been gone for probably the last 50 minutes. Has there been any conversation, anything going on?
I've been
As you all are
recharging.
sitting there.
I've been recharging my spell storing element of my harpoon to give it chill touch again, or shivering touch rather again.
Nice. So because we've had this conversation before, in the sense of hey, this is my thing I have to do. I don't expect you guys to come help me. A lot of our characters have had that conversation where they're like, hey, and we're like, no. So because Tobin is aware of that, while we're just in the room, it'll just be more of a I appreciate having you guys by my side. We've been through thick and thin together, and I know that you guys will have my back as I'll have yours. So whatever becomes of this possible mission, I don't know if I could do it without you, and I'm glad you're all here.
I just request that once we have a bit more details of what we're going into, that I have a few minutes to prepare some appropriate contingencies.
Well, we'll do what we can. We'll have to see how this meeting goes and how tight a timeline could potentially be.
One thing I didn't get to mention because in the episode and everything else, during when Jonathan was doing more experiments, I was over off in a corner, with the Sword of the Setting Suns, trying to see if I can, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Not tune.
A tune?
Attune. Thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
Attune with it more, or see if there's just something else about it.
A moment of communion with your blade.
Mm.
Go ahead and roll me a knowledge history.
I don't have that, so that will just have to be straight intelligence. 10.
Wait, what knowledges do you have?
I have Arcana, Planes, and Religion.
I'll take religion. What's your religion bonus?
With the same roll?
With the same, unless you want a new roll, I don't really care.
With the same roll, will be 13.
All right, we'll take 13. Alduin, you've studied the lore. You know your past, your people's past, and unfortunately, the short future of your peoples. As you commune with your blade, flashes of past owners of the sword, they don't flash into your mind as you study the bulbous glass with the sand within begins to mimic and show you visions of events that had affected the previous owner. I think you feel that there is something more to this blade, something that is hiding from you. With your 13, I don't think you can claim what that thing is. But you gleaming these visions and this spectral images in the sand. There is something more that is there. You just need to give it more time and more thought. Is there...
Sorry.
If you feel comfortable, you can absolutely say no, and we can leave it as vague as such, but could you think of any of the visions that are brought to you of the previous owners?
Probably not off the top of my head, but as I look at the blade in my native tongue, I say, if you deem me unworthy, I will fight for your worthiness.
A poem is an ancient Asharati poem is brought to your mind. You've seen it recently. You've heard it always, but you've seen it recently as you flip through the Rolodex of your mind and you try to make sense of it. The blade, dark blade, malice, the godslayer, poem in ancient Asharati written upon the flat recites in your mind with the glory and vigor of all your ancestors crying to you. A poem of battle, a poem of glory, but also a poem of death and despair.
As this poem is going through my mind, I shed a single tear for all the suffering that has been endured.
The voices are quelled as you hear a call of a horn, the horn of the white hand calling from the caverns. As a couple moments later, you hear the door open and latch shut as Yonatan enters.
Good timing, friend. It appears it's time to return to the meeting.
Let's be on
Yeah.
our way.
Let's do so.
All right. Again, I really do appreciate you guys being here with me. As Tobin will not take another deep breath and stand up nice and straight again as we walk out back to the meeting place and take our spots again.
You guys walk out of the guardhouse and seeing a small group of hordlings as well as a small group of hunters gathered a few paces distant from the raised platform. But what you guys focus on first is you see the form of a familiar drow companion in a hushed discussion with Tyrael.
I set my pace to match Tobin. Remember, you've only got about an hour left, maybe a little less, of being able to speak Draconic.
Thank you.
As you approach, as Tyrael and Orgolan notice you guys approaching, they quickly end their discussion. But you see, Orgolan has a very thoughtful look upon his face, something that you haven't really seen when it comes to Orgolan. Something's puzzling him, something's troubling him. Something that he seems to be grappling with, something that Tobin, you felt in your brief conversation with him before you left the candelabra. Seeing you all approach, he adjusts himself as his face kind of goes back to that of stone, with the mysterious candor of Orgolan as you all approach the stand.
Does he stay up there? Does he like come back to us, or what's up?
You approach them.
Right, so he's still
So
just like up there with Tyrael.
yeah,
Okay.
he's still standing there next to Tyrael on
What
her
was it
raised
they
platform.
were calling her? Empress of Snow and Ice or something?
The Empress of Frost. There have been a few names. The
Oh,
Empress of
okay.
Frost. Queen Mother was another one.
Okay.
Queen Brave Violence.
Some other ones.
Okay.
Yeah, Empress of the Tundra, Frog, right hand of justice is what Kavern revered her as.
Right. I think that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, so Empress of the Tundra is what you were thinking of. So your party approaches Orgolan and Tyrael.
I'll take another sort of bow and be like, Orgolan, I'm glad you were able to make it, and then always a pleasure, Empress of Tundra.
Dear Tobin, you do not need to revere me as such. Please, call me Tyrael.
If you're sure, Tyrael.
That sounds weird. Lady Tyrael will be fine.
Of course, Lady Tyrael.
Sir Tobin, I'm so proud of you. As I'm proud to stand in the presence of all the Adenaul. You have my utmost respect.
Were that it was
Pity.
the whole of the Adenaul.
If only.
Yes, Orgolan had just shared a brief thought of the loss of your friend Beckett. Grieve with you.
She isn't lost to us yet.
Of course. She will return to us. We will do everything in our power to make sure.
Neither was Calduin, but he also returned a changed man.
My points exactly.
What she goes through might be worse than the prisons of the island of Iker. For she has a storm in her mind But we must not dwell on things that have not come to pass. Now, we shall call the chieftains over, and we shall discuss a plan to retrieve the Fabergé of Fraught and Frost.
Very well, Lady Tyrael.
She raises her hand as the Honorable Pock and Chieftain Cavern enter into your semicircle of discussion. Tyrael, as they approach, she kind of flicks her finger. It's a pedestal of ice rises from the floor, creating a table for you all to stand around. So, now it is time to discuss retrieval of the Fabergé. Chieftain Cavern or the Honorable Puck, leave it to you to begin. Puck begins to speak. The Fireflesh has taken our gift on the 9th of Salami. Your graces. Solari, by the way, I kind of mumbled that one. Solari. A few months ago, and honestly,
Did he just say
I
salami?
did not say salami. I hope you know I did not. If I did, that's why I immediately corrected my fucking
So did he say the
self.
Knight of Solari?
Nice. I just want to give you guys a perspective when this happened.
Guys, Wes has turned into a TARDIS again.
Okay,
bit.
I was
Yep.
wondering if that was
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah.
My
You're glitching the fuck out.
calendar because
No, Wes, you're glitching the fuck out.
We can understand like 2 words that come out.
I heard calendar. That's about it.
We can see you moving just fine. It's just your audio.
It's been doing that a lot the whole session.
A little bit, but
And then he exploded.
oh no, he exploded.
The DM got devil pulled.
it always happens. Back.
I don't
Sort
know.
of.
Keep talking. I wasn't sure.
Keep talking.
Yeah, that's
So,
better. That's better.
Yeah. Has this been happening all episode?
Intermittently.
A little bit. It's mostly been fine, but it was just really bad there.
There were certain times where you were like explaining something that I went. Like,
But we could get the gist of it. That was all like 3 words out of like every 2 sentences.
Okay. So the 9th of Solari, not the 9th of Salami, just to reiterate, was actually the first the day that you all went to the Esme Luma festival.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So this was a month and a half ago. As no, not so later.
Because that episode was probably over a year ago.
I don't know about that, but
I
something like
joined
that.
about
quite a fucking while ago because the
Rip to my boy Adrian.
Yes.
oh you'll
He
see.
joined and then immediately
I
got an
have
email.
great plans for him. When was this? When was the festival uploaded?
Is it called the Esme Luma Festival episode? I think it might be.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
It was Fond Friends, August 6th, 2022.
Oh, so almost 2 years ago.
Years ago.
That's crazy. Yeah, I guess I was pretty close to the beginning.
Yeah, guys, we're on episode 67, and that was episode 26.
20-odd episodes a year.
No, sorry, that was episode 17.
Oh my god.
That was our beach episode, fellas.
25 episodes a year.
Yeah, the beach episode where Jonathan exploded into a giant fireball of death.
And also got to play some fun mini games. But yeah, you
Yeah.
got to explode it to death. Not to death. He damaged some people.
Also proposed assassination for people over the course of dinner.
Yeah, just your nice casual glass of political assassination. No big deal.
Yeah. Sorry, give me 1 second, fellas.
Absolutely not.
Was
Totally still recording, right?
Yep.
I think.
Make him suffer.
So this West guy, like I tell you.
How dare you go grab dinner at 8 o'clock? That's totally not allowed.
No, you're doxing our time.
How dare you?
Wait.
They don't know when this is uploaded.
Maybe he meant 8 a.m.
It's not like we're live streaming.
Yeah. I mean, editor Leo has to edit this part out if he really wants to.
What's the fun in that?
True.
But plus, it's not like our time has been doxed before because of James's alarms.
Listen, man. It went off today. I think I was just muted.
No, I heard it. We just weren't recording at that time.
Oh, also don't forget that you still have the plus 10, I believe it is, to the charisma skill set of diplomacy, bluff, and something else.
Well, that may come in handy.
Intimidate.
We'll see. Ah, yes.
That's like the only stat that I have that's decently high. Let's see, what's my intimidation at again?
Sorry, are we still recording?
Yep.
Yes, we are. My intimidation is 17.
Jesus.
So yes, begins is the Fireflesh has taken our gift to the Ninth of Solari, your graces. They took it to the city on the island of mud. Pox squawks and grovels. That is where the hand has stepped in. They took the egg to the Gilded Spark Bank, a disgusting Fireflesh den we have been watching for some time. Recently, there had been much movement at Gilded Spark, many shipments in and out.
Shipments of what?
We do not know. Open.
Are the crates or whatever, are the products marked? What have you seen leaving?
Many ships in and out. We do not know what the parcels are, but knowing the greed of Chandra and the Gilded Spark Bank, nothing good could be arisen. Leon kind of clears his throat and interrupts. Sorry, the Gilded Spark Bank, that's within Blackwater, correct? Yes, in Blackwater. Here are the schematics my troops were able to conjure. The bank goes deep. It is heavily guarded. He produces pages of schematics onto the table.
I'm going to examine them very carefully, taking in every intricate detail and beckoning Alistair to take a peek as well. Examine them very carefully. And I'm going to take my charcoal and my blank piece of paper out of my backpack, and I'm going to rub a sketch of it.
Roll me. Roll me a forgery check on that one.
Okay.
And Alistair and Calduin and Yonatan, can you all give me knowledge architecture?
Five.
You have knowledge architecture. What?
No, Knees has knowledge architecture.
What is oh. Never mind, you don't need to roll it then. I thought you had the knowledge architecture.
38 do it?
That's my man.
Frankie.
I also have
Frankie.
profession cartographer for doing maps. And also, when it comes to forgery, I got a 9 in it anyway, so.
I got a natural 20 on the forgery and then an 18 on the knowledge architecture.
God damn.
Another natural 20.
This is my first nat 20 of the session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sketched the map to perfection. Alistair, you gleam over these the schematics, and based off of the information provided by the first floor, this bank is weirdly powerful stronghold. The walls seem to be made of fireproof material. The bank itself is set up in an odd pathological sense to it that it just seems weird as a public market building. The first floor you gleam pretty clear. It's the door opens on the right hand side of the building, and it leads. You can either take all the way down to your left, which would lead you to the front teller's desk, or there's a hallway that leads straight in front of you that leads to a small corridor that runs off to the right, leading to office spaces as the hallway continues and curves to an oddly built hallway in the back section of the bank. It just like there's nothing there, and it's a hallway that seems to be going to nothing. But if you follow the teller side of the of the hallways, it leads you down into another corner where halfway through you see double doors that would lead out to the connected dock section of the bank. You see noted, particularly with the position of the docks to the bank, that there's a very high guarded wall with a large guard tower peering over both the docks and the street below, connected into the bank. As you see various docks where ships would be laying and cargo spaces. There is note on the hallway that leads to nothing. there is a footnote of a passageway that leads to a subterranean level of bank. This subterranean level, although the White Hand knows it exists, they have little to no information on it, rather other than the fact that it leads to a small chamber with a large vault door.
Based on the upper levels above the proposed existence of this basement level, would I be able to tell about how much reinforcement it would need to take in order to support the weight above? So would I be looking at a larger chamber, a smaller chamber, one that would be like, if it was a larger chamber that was risking uh, undermining itself and causing a collapse within the building, then that would at least give us an idea of what kind of dimensions we're looking at.
38.
As far as you can tell, the floor feels quite sturdy as supports were built into it, knowing that Blackwater is half a dock city and the other half on very spongy land. You would have to take quite amount of reinforcing to be able to hold up the upper sections, which could lead you to think that the bottom section is just as well secured.
Then the alternate question is, if the soil is so soggy and spongy underneath, how is it that the bank isn't sinking like Venice?
I don't know.
Are you saying that like in character or just talking about that?
Basically everything except the specific note about Venice.
Oh, okay. Well, sure. If the soil is that spongy and it's already seems unlikely that it could stand alone, who's to say how deep it goes if we don't have much information on these possible subterranean levels? What if they go down to nearly bedrock to more sturdy areas? Depending on the topology, bedrock isn't necessarily that deep, but below a swampy area like that, I couldn't say. Being from a desert area, I wouldn't know how deep that would be. But if it's supporting this weight, I would have to think it goes deep enough to reach some sort of solid ground.
Jonathan was a resident of Blackwater for a really long time. Would you be able to have
knowledge local?
I wonder if it's better off that we approach from underneath the waves, not even be seen within the building itself.
That, or depending on who really transmits this cargo, perhaps we could find a way to sneak our way down as some sort of workers transporting cargo. I don't know. I'd have to ask. Do you in your reconnaissance, who runs the docks? Is it humans or
As
what?
far as we know, the Gilded Spark owns the docks that are connected.
Well, yeah, I'm aware of that. Who, but like bringing in transports, is it just this? Is it just children of Sandra, or are there other races that are delivering packages and parcels and whatnot?
It is a mixed bag of races. We have not kept track of that. But they are a cunning group. And they could be running in secrecy. I know many of the Fireflesh possess many arcane talents.
Right.
But of course, Tobin, the point. We do not have a confirmed location on the Fabergé. Our best bet that it could be in 2 locations. First, if it had been shipped with the other cargo, it could be on the shipping manifest, which we believe would be on their flagship. Or, within the bank itself, the location could be found within Chandra's office, which resides deep below the bank.
So, either we need to find our way onto a ship to find a shipping manifest and see if we can locate the Fabergé, or we need to find a way deep into the bank. Perhaps a first step could be trying for the shipping manifest, and if we were able to get onto a ship, if we realize we need to get below, what better place to do that than a cargo ship that has parcels that are most likely transported below the bank.
Can we
So
tell what the foundation is made out of? If it's steel, stone?
It's not particularly noted, no. I don't think they were looking more on the structural supports of why the building can exist. I think they're looking for what's hidden within. So I don't think it really notes that, to be honest.
What do you know of the flagship? Do you know anything about its roots or its crew or anything that may be of help?
They make frequent journeys out to one port in particular. Shipments out, never shipments in. They go to the port of Ragnar in Valbridge. But from there, they are untraceable.
I don't know about you guys, but I'll look to the rest of my party. Am I the only one thinking that, especially with not only parcels that they're not sure the origin of, but the port being Ragnar, thinking that Hatchco may be involved in this?
Hatchco. We just finished off dealing with back inside of New Daria.
Yeah, that's right. But they have one of the leader of Hatchco's main offices is in Ragnar, and they are a big shipping company.
I mean, I suppose, but I mean, it's like trying to accuse a single bar out of a whole city for creating a single alcoholic when you've considered that, like, this is a port city. It's surviving off of its trade. What makes you think that it's so malevolent?
That's definitely a fair point, but in our past, some conversations we've overheard, as well as shady business activity we've already seen, could definitely lead some of us, at least, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but based on what you think, that this could very well have Hatchco written all over it. We already know they want to do some sort of project that involves connecting Veilbridge and New Daria. We know that they do shady dealings and questionable cargo based on some shipments, albeit land shipments that we have commandeered, I'll say, from them, as well as again the fact that one of the main offices is in Ragnar. I'm right about that, right? Right, Wes. One of them's in Ragnar. Is one of his offices because he had one in.
This is main office, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And
one in Ragnar. looks like her.
Yeah.
And more as well.
So, yes, you are right, Alistair. I may not be able to confirm that, but we definitely have reasons to have suspicions of this.
I mean, especially with Volnar gaining the people's support in New Daria, I wouldn't be surprised if those events were connected as well.
I'm not sure what that has to do with Volnar. Do you care to elaborate on that?
Well, building a bridge from Vale Bridge to New Daria, and then Volnar, Vanglorious X just so happen to swoop into New Daria, save the day, will probably improve relations with the townspeople there so that they can do their business more on the down low than they normally would.
I'm still not sure I'm seeing the connection. What about the bridge has to do with Volnar?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think all of this is more connected. Like, it's all in one big web. We just haven't one big puzzle. We haven't gathered.
So you're trying to say my former employers were supporters of the Vanglorious X?
Potentially.
Huh.
It can't be a coincidence.
I'm really just not connecting the dots here. I don't
I think it's just purely speculation on the fact that the bridge is built as well as the Vainglorious X's appearance in New Daria.
aren't they
Um,
but their island is based out
How
of
that connects to Vale Bridge itself is kind of the loose thread that you're not really sure
right.
of, but I think that's just purely speculation on Yonatan's part.
I think you know what, Yonatan, just based on those shady dealings, I would not put it out of the picture that Hatchco may deal with the Vainglorious X, but I definitely don't think there's enough evidence yet. And although that's something we should keep in the back of our heads, I don't know if that's quite relevant to the mission at hand yet.
Okay.
So they only ship out of there. That's unfortunate because even if we were to, say, commandeer the ship and get access to the manifest, that means we wouldn't necessarily be able to sneak ourselves in through pretending to be workers or hiding in cargo or something like that. But do you believe that the shipping manifest should be our first attempt at this, our first order of business, or do you? Because especially considering
The docks are well guarded. I think if you are to infiltrate the docks, you may as well infiltrate the bank itself. Unless maybe you approach from the water, but that seems unlikely.
no, but point being, they said the shipping manifest would be on their head ship, right? That's what they said, right?
Yeah.
And so, correct, you say that it's hard to approach the bank, but you're saying the shipping manifest may have the data on it. If the ship is often on journeys, we don't have to approach it when they're near the bank. We can get them out at sea. We can commandeer the vessel. And
that seems difficult. I think infiltrating the bank would be more straightforward.
then why even mention the manifest?
Because if it had been shipped out, you'd know it would be.
So you're saying
you could glean more information from their motives on that shipping manifest.
so the
to
bank
your
is
point.
Okay.
No, you go on.
But so go ahead.
We only need to steal the manifest.
Yeah, I'm not saying we have to take the comment. That was a poor choice of words towards them. The commandeership idea was more like if we could commandeer it and then go back, we might be able to also get into the bank if we find out it's in there. But since they don't do shipments in there, that's kind of like a scrap idea now. But yeah, if we can just manage to get on the boat and get the manifest, that's great.
What would happen if, say, Jonathan decided to wild shape into a sparrow when it appeared near Port Ragnar, turn into a rat to go below deck, and after acquiring the book, made a hasty and very visible retreat while we provided cover?
I think the issue with the few issues I have with that are not only is from here, Port Ragnar is halfway across the world. We're like down here, right? Port Ragnar's up in Vailbridge, or Vailbridge is kind of down here. It's not as far as I thought, but it's kind of like over here versus like here. But other than that, they said that the Chandra's children are very well versed in the arcane arts. So if Yonatan were to get caught, that wouldn't be good. Unless you're saying, say, we get onto the ship, cause some sort of distraction while Yonatan goes and gets the book, and then we make an escape. Is that what you're suggesting?
I was thinking about.
Because sending him solo is just my problem. So many things could go wrong with that.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with setting up an adequate distraction. Mostly it just boils down to how do we want to cause it? Because
Nah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm sure that there's a million and one ways to keep a vessel occupied. Hell, just go ahead, see if you can find out where the powder kegs are, and one produce flame later, and all of a sudden, there's a lot more hilarity and distractions.
That's true. We just don't want to risk burning the manifest itself if we were to set fire to the boat. But even on our boats, we could launch a temporary sea battle. We could take them at the port, although we already have I feel like a bad enough rap in Vale Bridge. But yes, there are many ways we could do that. I'll turn back to the leaders of the tribes and just be like, so do you think the manifest is worth getting, or do you think we should just try and infiltrate the bank? Because we can definitely find a way to get the manifest.
Ideally, to get the most information, both might be necessary.
Right, but if we start with the manifest and find that we need to get into the bank, then we could do so for sure. But so do you?
Then it's decided.
We'll start with
The manifest and then the office.
Should we need to, yes. So, let us figure out a plan for how to cause a well enough distraction so that a friendly druid could sneak in and steal the manifest.
We could really use our short little friend right now.
Well then, so how do we think? What do we think is the best way to cause a distraction? Like you said, we could try and locate their powder kegs, but again, that could cause a fire that could potentially damage the manifest, which is what we need. We could try and board their ships. We could engage in a sea battle. Are we armed with cannons on our ship? I feel like you said there were some.
Yeah, there are some.
Well, I think that we should first decide whether we want to attempt it while it's docked at one of the ports, or if we want to have a naval battle.
That's true. That like I said, obviously we probably shouldn't do it at the bank right away, especially because we're not aware that, so we could either do it at Ragnar or perhaps wait outside of Blackwater and wait till they're far enough away where they might not be able to get help in time and launch a naval battle.
If we did it at the port, I could probably throw together an underwater wall of stone in order to hem them into their place at the docks.
So they can't flee. All right. I don't mind that plan. We can board their ship at Ragnar while they're offloading cargo, cause a distraction, and then once we have a chance to do that, Yonatan can sneak down and try and find the manifest, and then we can all escape when need be.
My only problem with that is we don't know what kind of agents would be around at the port. They could have somebody who could easily send a message.
Right,
That they
but
lost the manifest?
Is quite good.
Yes, if they send a message, that's probably fine because the distance from how far by sea, if we were to like look at our map, would we say between Ragnar and Blackwater is?
Well, I mean, with magic technology at our disposal, it's about as far to make that kind of communique as, say, your sending stone out.
No, but I'm not talking about the communication, but rather the time to send reinforcements
3 days.
if their main base is in Blackwater. So if they couldn't send reinforcement in 3 days, that means we could very well get in and get out before they could at all send reinforcements.
Ideally, I'd like to see this happen in and out within 40 minutes.
Yeah, us, yes. So way less than 3 days.
The only thing is that if they do, even if they can't get reinforcements out, that will be more of a problem trying to get into the bank if need be.
Only if
But
they know that we're going after the bank.
yeah, why would they think we're going after the bank? They would probably think we're just going for their cargo because that's a ship that's coming out of there, you know? And that, if anything, we would just have to make sure if we were to infiltrate the banks that we don't do it from the dock side because maybe they'll have more security by the docks, which actually may help us if we try to infiltrate from somewhere else because they might have more of their security focused on the docks knowing that their boats have been attacked.
I like this.
I do too. Does what about you, Calduin? I know you're voicing your what do you think? And I think also at the dock would be better for you just because the possible disadvantages of a seafaring battle with your inability to take on water. It would be
Either
way
way,
less dangerous for you.
either way, it has its disadvantages. So I'm your group leader. I'll follow your lead.
No, well, we all need to be on board with this if we want it to go successfully.
Just tell me what to do.
All right. I'll look back to the leaders. How does this sound?
Dangerous but acceptable.
All right. So if we are to get to Ragnar and attack them there, sure, we could do the 3-day journey and return back here, but is there perhaps a is my sending stone full? I feel like you said there's only a certain amount of slots.
There's 1 slot left.
Would we perhaps like to set up a form of communication and I'll produce my sending stone from my bag to
Leon speaks up and says, I would not mind engraving my rune.
that would be very much appreciated. I'll hand him my sending stone to do his thing.
He He takes one of you see his thumb kind of project into the finger of a dragon as he sketches his rune into the final facing side of the sexahedron.
I also have an idea for how to make that 3-day journey by sea a lot briefer.
Really? What might that be?
Profound, ridiculous, and otherwise completely overkill magic?
Sounds like us. What did you have in mind?
Shattering off a piece of my essence to create a lantern archon?
Hold on. What do you mean shattering off a piece of your essence? Is that gonna hurt you?
If I don't take adequate precautions, I suppose, yeah. I'm literally extracting what good I have inside of my being in order to create a creature of pure good.
Are you sure that you could take the proper precautions to make it not an issue? I won't have you doing that to yourself.
I'm confident I could do it. It
As
would
long as you can do it without any adverse side effects, you are uh an ally that we care about much, and we won't have you harming yourself.
ordinarily it would completely enfrail my body, but it is possible to acquire the assistance of a lantern archon for an hour by doing so.
And how quick would this make the trip?
Instantaneous.
Oh,
I mean, the ritual to create the archon would take an hour, and that would involve extracting a good portion of my blood along with a certain portion of my flesh, and of course, the natural component of my own experience and soul. But in doing so, I would also have to make sure that I prepared some means of body warding. But it's theoretically possible. Everyone would have to climb inside the hole because the lanterns or archons are not good at transporting people. That is how you get nightmares. But they can transport objects just fine.
well, as long as again, only if you are do your research if you must, as long as you are sure you can take the proper precautions and not harm yourself in doing so, then that's seems like a viable option. What do we
Think
know
of it
there?
kind of like getting whacked with a warhammer when you've got adequate padding. It's going to suck, but it won't be mortal.
If you're certain, but even if it's not mortal, when we talk about you mentioned your essence. When we talk about that, will that be affected?
If I don't take precautions, I would expect. But I I am confident inside of my ability to ensure that my essence is not drained inadequate or inordinately.
Okay. Now, I assume you guys have been keeping eye on their if you've been doing surveillance, I assume you know to some extent when they send shipments out on their what do you call it? What's the name of the big ship, like the fleet leader? I would like what
Armada?
Flagship.
would you say it was?
The flagship?
Oh, the flagship. Do you know its schedule by at all, or is it consistent enough that you could figure it out, or do we have to wait till we see it?
A 7-day journey. It will travel the 3 days, rest a half a day in a port, and return. Which means, if I think about it, it should have a shipment 2 nights from now.
Okay, good. I'll look to Alice. Is that ample time to make sure that you take the proper precautions.
I believe so.
We could also leave now, take our ship, be there, and then only use that for the way back if necessary. Because if they're going to take 3 days anyways, we have to wait anyways.
I don't want to rely on using an hour-long ritual to make an escape.
Okay. You can't. Is it like they do it as soon as you finish the ritual?
As soon as I finish the ritual, I have 1 hour of service from the Archon in question.
Then I'm not sure that it will be necessary. If they're not leaving for 2 days, we can leave now or even tomorrow, and we'll be there at least a day ahead of them and not have to risk that.
All right, then.
But it may be something to keep in mind in the future, and we appreciate your service, obviously. So, I suppose we should make some preparations and then head to Ragnar, if everybody is agreed.
Sounds good.
I could always use a little bit more Cinnabril.
With a plan now set into motion, the Ade Naul are going to sail upon the Candelabra to the port city of Ragnar within Veilbridge. We're going to call a quick break and we'll catch up with our party. So we return to the preparations table as Cavern looks to you all and takes a small bow to realizes that is all the information that I can share.
What, you don't know anything about what the flagship looks like? That might come in handy.
It will be obvious when you see it. I do not question your intelligence. Yet.
Fine.
You wish you good luck on your quest, Sir Tobin, and I sure hope you return fruitfully.
I do have one question.
See, yeah.
Why exactly do we need to steal the manifest? Would it be better to copy it in some form?
That's a good point, actually. I know you were concerned about revealing our intentions and them possibly locking down the bank. So, what if instead we figure out a way to copy the book as well as disguise ourselves just because of our potential infamy across the Boundless shores? So, when we get to Ragnar, and even on the boat ride there, we can find a way to copy it, as well as find ourselves some disguises once we get into town. Does anybody have a way that we could copy it quickly so that we don't have to steal the manifest? Because I think you're right. If we steal the manifest, it may raise some suspicions and make our potential assault on the bank, if it is there or wherever we may need to go, more challenging.
There is a cantrip. It's typically more used among the more literary side of the Arcanus, but it does copy non-magical text. It's called a Menuesis. I would have considered this a first year project back when I was in the academy. So I mean, It might take me a day.
Okay.
With that said, we're probably better off going with mundane disguises rather than magical ones, because if they're versed inside of magic, then the first thing that they're going to do is, assuming that we're like somehow disguised magically, they're going to throw a dispel at us in order to see if we've altered our forms or our appearance in some way. And if it's mundane means, then that's just wasted time on their part.
Right. Then perhaps
E-
it's time we get some cool cloaks.
Even wrapped faces of bandages would probably do adequately.
That brings me
Maybe.
back.
But I do like the idea of cloaks.
I do have some
You
disguise.
too, James.
What's that? Oh, he started disconnect. What's that, Jonathan?
I do have some spare disguise kits lying in my bag if you'd like to take use of those.
Aren't those usually just for one person? How many do you have?
Let me take a look and see what I've got.
I believe that a typical disguise kit can be used about 10 times in total.
Oh, okay. Have you used it? I feel like you've used it a bit, Jonathan. I can't remember.
For disguising a whole cart?
Once in the second episode, and I have not used them.
Oh my god, Dragons shoutouts.
Yeah, Dragon.
Let's go.
But
pretty sure that the
I have
disguise
9
kit
uses.
was pretty sure the disguise kit was used in order to hide the fact that we stole the Hatchco, or you
oh,
guys stole
that's
the
right.
Hatchco
I
card
feel like
as
that
well.
probably would have used most of it. We used it to paint most of it, didn't we?
Whatever.
Grease
No,
makeup.
he had camouflage paint in his
Oh.
kit. It wasn't the disguise kit.
Alright,
Yes, he
my
had
bad.
camouflage paint on him. So when you see Leon crack a smirk on his face, well, with Yodaton's disguise kit and, of course, your hired tailor, you might be able to make a disguise kit relatively cost-effective.
We have a tailor?
Yes, of course, among many other skills.
Oh. Well, before we move on, do you have everything that you need to cast this spell? Or make a wand for that spell?
I wouldn't dare make a wand. I wouldn't expect that a druid. Nope, nothing personal, Jonathan. But this is not a common spell for druids, so I would expect that this is better off to be prepared as an unguent of some kind. Perhaps I should just go ahead and enchant a flask of ink instead to do the copying work for it.
Oh, okay. Well, do you have everything you need for that then?
Probably a little bit of gem dust, an ink flask itself, and probably a little bit of time to etch in the runes with some mycinobril. Like I said, I could probably get this done within a day.
Anything you require, I can provide. For your adventure ahead, I would wish you were well equipped. Is there anything any of the rest of you desire? For
So,
I
like,
have plenty.
all right, let me get a vote of confidence here. Are we opposed to the cloaks?
If you really want the cloaks, I'm sure we can get the cloaks. I
Yes.
can take care of the cloaks.
Oh.
But I think the first thing that we should be worried about is making sure that we have all of our gear adequately. So I'm thinking we'll need a journal for Jonathan to copy all of the material into while we're keeping the top deck distracted.
Oh, yeah. Definitely need something to write on. We don't want to have him to have it like written all over his body or something. That'd be silly.
I've heard of mages doing such things before.
Me too.
I feel like we should also hide our normal weapons, especially mine and yours, Tobin. They might stand out.
You're right. That if we're attacking the children of Chandra, they may be able to sense the power of the Horn of Tyrael.
I'm sure that we can acquire weapons.
I really hate to put my sword down, but I'm sure we can figure something out.
You and me both.
I mean, I've got my wild shape in my spells, so I'm
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be all right.
good.
And Orgolan, when we disguise, you may want to, because doesn't he have the crown? I feel like he was given the crown. He wears that around, right?
Yeah, he wears a crown.
Yeah. So, cloak or not, just you may want to put that crown away, Orgolan.
Make good use of that boot knife that that encapsulates you in smoke.
Oh yeah.
Right, I forgot I had this thing on.
Tap the toe twice to eject the knife.
I should probably put my circlet of wisdom as well.
You
And
should
my
what?
emerald probably.
Is it what, like the emerald
Your
from the staff?
No, your emerald is now embedded within your bow staff, which means
okay.
the effects of your scepter are now in your bow staff, by the way.
Yeah, but
Alright.
perhaps we should not bring anything relevant to the dragons, just in case they're somehow able to sense that. So I will find a temporary weapon to use due to the Horn of Tyrael, and maybe because of your Is that still like the emerald that has to do with Varys? No, yes, maybe.
Yeah.
So it might be better to. You don't need that to cast Wild Shape, right? It's not your focus, or.
No,
Okay,
it's
cool,
for my spells. So even
perfect.
if it's a wild shape, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh yeah, if you Wild Shape, it won't really matter because you'll have it like morphed into you anyways. But
Yeah. Probably if we're going into the bank, we probably need to go into wild shape before that.
well, that's we don't even know if we need to. That's why we have to get the manifest first, right?
Correct.
So
Maybe when we slip back to the fishing village, we'll just pick up a couple of short swords to cover our bases.
I'm proficient with every weapon, but great sword is what I have like my specialization in. So
All right.
if
My
possible, I
rapier,
would definitely prefer a great sword.
I'm
So
sure.
you guys are planning on leaving your weapons behind before you infiltrate.
I
Not
mean, we'll
leaving them
probably just
here,
leave them
right?
on the
You're gonna leave them on
candelabra.
your ship. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
or in the
I just
Yes,
wanted
of
to
hole.
make
course.
sure that you're not just like throwing your weapons down here and then
No.
heading out.
Wait. So
Okay.
did
I just wanted to
yeah?
ask.
Just a reminder. Did it say the ship would be leaving from here in 2 days, like from Blackwater rather, like the enemy ship?
Yeah,
Is that what we
in
said?
2 nights. And you
So
guys
so we
are
have like 5 days.
half a day's behind. So it takes about a half a day to sail from New Angor to Blackwater.
So we have like 4.5 days before they would get to Ragnar, right?
Yeah, they get to Ragnar in 3 days, in 2 days,
Yeah, so
or
5 days, but
in
we're half a
two
day behind.
nights.
So we have five
Yeah.
days, including.
Well,
So we'll have like 2 days
you
there, right?
guys are. It would be about
If we left now.
evening. It would be about evening now. In the current day, so night and then day and then night. That's when it heads out. It specifically heads out at night.
Yeah, so we're gonna be like 2 days ahead of it, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll have 2 days in Ragnar, assuming everything goes well.
Yeah, as long provided you leave tonight, you have 2 days ahead of it.
Okay, cool. Because you said you needed. How long do you need to? Sorry, I don't think you actually said this. How long do you need to make this flask or whatever for this potion?
I'd have
Okay.
it done within a day. I've only got a minor project that'll be finished tonight, and I'll be able to start it basically after dinner.
Perfect. So we'll have so assuming we can get everything we need, well, might as well, since to just to get us as much time as we have, we might as well figure out what we need and see what of that Tyrael can give us. As she said, she's willing to help out in any way possible.
Anything you require, name it, and I shall give it.
Might I purchase a bottle of endless air?
She closes her eyes for a moment as you watch all the diamonds begin to shine in a bright white light as she extends her hand out. A white, like moonlit light emits from her palm as it kind of shifts and morphs into a large dragon claw. She focuses and closes her eyes, and she opens them as they're frost like dazzling prismatic reflections within projections. Her eyes are deep and endless, and you are lost in them. No frost emits. A single vial floats down as her hand morphs back into her humanoid form. Lowers it to you, Alistair.
Magnificent.
Before, like, obviously we're about to ask her for anything we need, but before I ask her for one thing, Wes, this is something Chris and I talked about. Would you let me modify my sword to have a wand slot in it? Can you explain to him how that would work, Chris?
A weapon modification that was included inside Dungeonscape. It allows the owner of a weapon to basically slip a wand within a weapon, and it can be changed out as a full round action.
But so can you but how do you use the wand in the sword?
Oh, as long as you're holding the weapon, you are effectively holding the wand at the ready.
And
So
that's just like
basically,
a standard action to use, or it depends
uh,
on the spell.
same. It varies by the spell.
Okay.
Normally, by the core rulebook, it would take a standard action to cast any spell out of a wand. Rules Compendium later revised it so that it takes the same amount of action that it takes to cast the spell. So if it was a 1 hour long spell of Identify, then it still takes an hour according to those rules. So it was just a revision that happened.
You're a spell sword? Why not?
Awesome.
And you're a blacksmith, so you could easily make that adjustment to your blade.
Oh, I could do that. How? What
You
is
are.
that? Oh, okay. Wait, what does that usually require to do, Chris? Like, is that?
It's usually just 100 gold pieces and I mean typical craft check for that time. So I mean probably a few weeks, assuming that you weren't magically enhanced.
Right then, I'll just okay. I was gonna see if I was under the impression that I might have to get some help to do it, but if I can just craft it, even if it takes a few weeks, just kind of like over time, just like begin to modify that sounds cool to me.
You know what? No, you know what? I'll give it to you. Like, honestly, that just seems cool.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah,
All right.
hell yeah.
Like I could just have it, or like okay.
You are honestly, I would even just in like a montage moment, you get
Yeah.
to with your plan concocting, you create it within a couple of hours as you kind of unscrew the Horn of Tyrael, where you insert the wand and you can trade out whatever wand you can and screw it back into the hilt. And
Cool.
it rests within the
Yeah.
pommel of the blade.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Anyways, so can anybody think of anything else we need before we head out? You need some sort of blank book. I assume that won't be a problem to conjure up. So did you say you have us covered for some form of cloaks? Or is that something we should ask for too? Or
I'm sure that I can whip some up with the clothier's closet.
as long as like with time for preparing your the needed potion or flask or whatever you called it. As long as you're sure we'll have time to do that as well, that's fine.
I can delegate most of the menial enchantment over to the kindness of my homunculus, Zinnia.
Perfect. Then I suppose we just need a blank book.
Hands it down towards you.
Thank you, Lady Tyrael. Is everybody ready to be off then, or is there anything else we need? I'd definitely like to be ahead just in case anything goes wrong.
I am ready to depart.
Good. Alistair or Golan, Calduin?
I'd say that I have everything that I need. If not here, then certainly inside of my repository.
Let's go.
And Calduin, are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Glad to hear it. All right. I think we'll be off then. I hope we may return with good news, Lady Tyrael.
I do hope that you save her. Good
Thank
luck.
you. All right, then
gents.
we will
We're looting a boat to loot a bank.
possibly. We'll see where the manifest takes us. Although I do have a feeling you're on the right track with that.
So, we're gonna do a little fast forward junction where the Reina will bid their adieus to Leon and to Tyrael, and leaving the caves of frost behind, they trek down the mountains of New Angor and back down through the city of New Angor. They cast the candelabra once more out to sea. We are going to catch up with so what's gonna go down on the candelabra? How many days will it take you, Alistair, to get ready for this? Because that will entirely depend on where we're gonna catch up.
It'll take 1 day in order to enchant the ink vial.
Just 1 day, you think?
Exactly.
It only costs 50 gold in order to buy something like that. So 25 gold worth of enchantment onto a vial of ink in order to give it a 0 level spell.
Perfect. So we're gonna catch up with the candelabra on its final day of the journey.
Hold on. Before we do that,
Go
if you
on.
don't mind. On my first day, I will that's Alistair. I believe I acquired you some materials, like such as iron when we were in Eris. Would you still happen to have any of that?
I haven't even touched it. It's all sitting inside of the pit.
Would
Do you
you mind if
require
I
some?
borrowed some? Yes. Like we said, I don't really. It might not be wise to use my weapon or Calduin's weapon in the battle. So, during our travels, I'd like to craft us some blades. I have like a blacksmith set up in my room.
By all means. But
Calduin, what kind of sword is your sword of the setting sun?
it's like a half sword. It's like it does the damage of a great sword,
Okay.
with two-handed,
It's
but
a hand and a half sword, so it's one-handed it's a bastard sword, and two-handed it's a great sword.
Okay, cool. I can definitely. I feel like I can do that. So what were you gonna say there, Alistair? Though.
If we are interested inside of having a little bit more oomph, I could also, with a little bit of spices and oils that we could probably pick up at port,
Mm-hmm.
I could enchant the weapons as well temporarily for a few hours.
I think that'd be a great idea. That saves. I can't say I have much experience with any of that, but I can definitely craft a. Considering the time, a well enough fine like sharpened blade that will certainly do the trick for me and Calduin.
Honestly, as long as it holds an edge and can be called a blade, then I can certainly throw a temporary enchantment on.
Tobin will kind of let out a little Scott. It'll definitely, if those are your only definitions, I'm sure it will be able to be called a blade.
If it's identifiable as a weapon, I could probably collect a branch called a club, and if I have my proper enchanting materials, I could enchant it to have all sorts of properties.
Awesome. I'll also go up to Yonatan and Yonatan, can I ask you a favor?
What can I do for you?
As you know, me and Calduin require temporary blades, and I can do that, but crafting, woodworking, and making something for the pommel have never really been my strong suit. So if you wouldn't mind, could you, and I'll kind of like lay out a piece of paper just with like very rough sketches of like the dimensions and stuff. Could you perhaps make something that I could stick the that little part's called the tang of the blade, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That I could stick the tang into in order to make a usable handle.
Yes, I can absolutely do that for you. I'll get to work on it right away.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, while we're traveling, I would like to craft me and Calduin a sword, and Yonatan will make the stuff for the handle.
Roll me a craft blacksmith, and
Okay.
Yonatan, go ahead and roll me a craft woodworking.
Hold on. This is mostly
And
role play, so
for enchanting the ink, I'm going to need to make a use magic device check of caster level 20 plus or 20 plus caster levels. So in this case, 21.
Perfect. Go ahead.
I'm just waiting for my sheet to load up here. E20, D20. I dumped the bag here. I can never see the damn D20s. There's one.
Yeah,
There's
I've
one.
got a 31.
Excellent.
Go. My sheet's not loading very well. I'll just let me try my phone. Myth Weavers. Hopefully I'm logged in on here.
I got a 37 for craft woodworking.
37 for craft woodworking.
Tobin. Just let me open it. Yeah.
your craft is a 5.
Oh, cool. That'll be a 19 then.
Putting their minds together in preparing. Owen crafts blades as he strikes his hammer upon the anvil, molding the steel. And reflecting, you think of your grandfather You think of your father, and you think of the effect that Arcanos played on your forefathers' lives, and how now you carry the mantle of Tyrael and the responsibility and the duty that goes along with it. You strike and mold the steel, your mind is sharpened. As Yarton, you spend your time crafting these delicately made handles. You spend your time carving in runes and pictures, reflecting your thoughts and feelings of your friends as you craft. As you craft in these runes, what runes and what pictures are you crafting in for Tobin and for Calduin?
So for Tobin, I would like to do like the Raymond mining, the Raymond mine logo, and then I'll just inscribe Raymond and Co. As well. And then for Calduin, I don't know if they have like an Oshirati, like if the Oshirati have like some sort of logo or insignia.
It would have been something in one of the, and when we went and visited the town, right?
Yeah, you
Some
would have
sort of.
been able to glean some iconography of his past. Yeah.
One
I'd
thing
like
they
to
like,
do.
because of a prayer that I've mentioned before in a previous episode, is the sands of time.
Yeah, I'll put on Calduin's handle, I'll put like a little hourglass with like sand
Nice.
going down to the bottom, like with like grains of sand falling to the bottom.
Delicately, you carve these runes and these thoughts and these memories that you're now imprinting on this wood. You bring them to Tobin, and Tobin then puts the final touches and screws in the pommels of the blades that he's created. Alistair works tirelessly within his pit as his homunculus finishes up whatever duties that he previously had and now takes on the new challenges. Alistair imprints this spell upon the flask, and can you describe how Alistair works and how Alistair weaves the spell into existence?
Bearing in mind that I need to specifically prepare the flask for this singular purpose inside of its creation, I carefully uncork the bottle as I start to paint delicate runes along the inside of the ink jar. Each time letting the runes just barely settle and cease their glow before I swish the ink, dragging the freshly drawn rune deep into its black depths. Each time, a thrum of arcane energy hums within the bottle. Finally, corking it back up and sealing it with a red cap of wax. Finally, the bottle itself takes on an iridescent, unearthly glow.
With the spell complete and the preparations prepared. Couldn't think of a better words. Preparations prepared. Here we go. The candelabra drifts towards the port of Ragnar in the country of Valebridge. One that, you'd like to remember. You're currently exiled from, by the way.
We've got clout.
In the northern parts. You got clout. You'll see. And I guess we'll all see in the next episode.
Nice.
I gave the inspiration point for this session to Liam and to Chris and to James for cracking the mystery of the strange dream that they had. And if you, in the comments, figured out the dream, you can award yourself an inspiration point. There you go. With that, our heist has grown into naval territories and uncharted waters as we're gonna figure out what happens. As yet, I know we'll attempt to transfer information from the ship Manifest from the flagship of the Gildespark Bank port. Yeah. Things are getting real complicated. It's even hard for me to follow along. And thank all of you for following along. I've been chilling.
They're definitely not gonna cheat on the dream sequence. They're definitely not gonna do that. Anyway, bye. Have a wonderful time.
Peace.